Hello, Gold participants from around the world. I'm Fleur Bickford, Program Director and MC for Gold Learning. I'm chatting today with Dr. Melissa Bartick about her upcoming presentation titled Missing the Evolutionary Boat, How Viewing Infant Sleep Out of Context Fails Parents and Children. So, Melissa, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So to start with, perhaps you can tell our delegates a little bit about yourself and your professional journey. How did you become interested in breastfeeding and infant sleep?
Well, my interest in breastfeeding, including the relationship with infant sleep, came from my own difficulties in breastfeeding my oldest child, who's now 18, and I became more interested in the topic of sleep and breastfeeding after the AAP published its 2005 SIDS recommendations, and I was upset by them and wrote an editorial letter in response, and I've been following this issue closely ever since.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. So I'm really curious. You say you were upset by the recommendations from the AAP that came out in 2005. What was it about that that was upsetting to you?
Um, the recommendation that um, that that there be no bed sharing whatsoever. I thought that
Hmm.
the way this was approached was I did not like the way it was approached. I did not like that they did not include the section on breastfeeding in making the recommendations, and that they did not consider the broader public health issues around um, co-sleeping and breastfeeding when they made the recommendations.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. And I think during your presentation, you're going to be talking about their updated recommendations. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Wonderful. So perhaps you can give us just a little bit of a sneak peek at what you're going to be talking about in your presentation.
Sure. I am going to be talking about how the current recommendations around infant sleep are really made out of any kind of evolutionary context where throughout millennia uh, infants have slept with in close proximity to their mothers and have breastfed, and this whole idea of sleeping solitary and of infants drinking and eating things other than their mother's milk as their primary food source is really a historical aberration, and that that these recommendations are made in this historical context, and that we need to realize that and and make recommendations that make sense with how mothers and infants' bodies are designed to actually work, and look at the consequences of what we do when we disrupt that natural physiological process.
Okay, fantastic. I think this is such an important topic. I know in my own work as an IBCLC, sleep is one of those topics that it always comes up, and so many parents, here in Canada, recommendations are, parent babies should be sleeping on their back, on their own, in a crib, and so many parents eventually admit that, no, their baby doesn't sleep that way, and the baby's in the bed with them, and we talk through, um, you know, how to do that safely, how to bed share safely, and all of that sort of stuff. I think it's so important for us to be talking about that because regardless of what the public health recommendations are that are out there, parents are sleeping with their babies. Do you find that too when you're talking to parents?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so such an important topic, and really thrilled that you're going to be covering this for us. So as we finish up here, perhaps you can just tell me a little bit about what you hope delegates will take away from your presentation and be able to take back with them to their own practices.
Um, I hope that people will have an appreciation um, for the the new the newer guidelines that are coming out, and I talk a bit about the baby box trend and how we really need to put this all into historical context for what the physiologic norm is, and to actually look at what the evidence is and where it points us and where it doesn't point us. Um, and to really seek out solutions that really work for parents and work with how our bodies were really designed to function. Um, so that's what I would like to see, and I would like to see people, you know, really trying to get through, question recommendations when they don't seem to make sense.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And for our delegates who are listening, you can hear more from Dr. Melissa Bartick during her live presentation on Tuesday, October 10th at 1800 UTC. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.